Hey guys. So when I was young, we would go on these excursions to this recreation park called Jamboree. Anyway, they had this attraction there called The Rock, and it was a 5-meter high cliff that you would jump off into water below. And I mean, 5 meters is not that high, but for me, I was terrified of it. You know that feeling just before you jump off a high ledge and you freeze up, your hands get sweaty and your heart beats like crazy and time just stands still. Well, for me growing up, that's what shyness felt like. So when I was in year 8, I was about 12 years old then, and I liked this girl in the grade below. So being shy, it was already hard enough talking to a girl in the same grade as me or the same class, let alone a girl in the grade below. We had no classes together, no mutual friends, no group projects, nothing. Normally, I would let something like this slide. You know, you see someone cute, you forget about it. But every time we'd see each other around, there'd be this big smile, eyes glittering, heart-pounding eye contact. I needed a way to talk to her. I needed a plan. So every Friday I had English in period 1 in classroom, let's call it AB. And she had a class in that same room AB in period 2, which meant every Friday at around 10 AM, I would see her standing there with a friend without fail as we shuffled out of class. So I knew that this was my opportunity, and I was thinking of what I could say to her or what I could do. And as embarrassing as it is, back then all I could think of was really lame things like writing her a note, or giving her a gift or something like that. Thankfully, I didn't do that. I came to the common sense conclusion that I should just say hi to her like a normal person. On top of that, it'll break the ice and it's simple. Just say hi, not a problem, right? But it was a problem. I was so shy that I would feel like I needed to reduce every single variable. Like I was worried what other people think, whether my hair was in the right place, if my clothes looked good, did I smell, because we'd always play sports or basketball before school started. Basically, I wanted to create the perfect situation so nothing could go wrong. First, she'd have to be facing me because as you walk out, if her back's to you, then your whole plan's screwed. And then on top of that, if she's facing me, then she has to be making eye contact with me because I want it to be engaged and I want it to be smooth. I couldn't have too many friends around because if they were around, then it'd just get weird because they'd see me talking to her and they'd be like, what the hell are you doing, man? Finally, the wind velocity had to be right. Okay, no, I'm just kidding about that one. But it was like a military operation. I needed to have like this perfect scenario and all the stars needed to align for me to just say one word, hi. Anyway, it rarely happened. Like every Friday would come around and 10 o'clock would come and I would be watching the second hand turning as the minute would strike 10. And then I knew that it was go time. And doing that obviously doesn't really help. It actually stacks on the pressure and it just makes it crazy. So on the rare days that all those stars did align, it never happened because I just psyched myself out of it. I was so worried people would see me try to talk to her and know that I'd like her and then they'd think I'm a loser and then basically my life would be over. You know what it's like when you're in high school, right? But looking back, I realized just like how ridiculous and how crazy it is. Like, have you ever been out to the shops or to a busy place like a train platform or on the bus and there's like someone that's crazy rambling or maybe someone trips over and they embarrass themselves? Well, the thing is like 2 seconds later, everyone forgets about it and they're off doing their own thing because life's too busy to worry about those little small things. It's just another moment in time. The world keeps spinning and no one notices. Do you believe in fate? The idea that there's this mystic, all-powerful energy that's drawing you down a certain life path or towards a certain person in life. Because at the time, I believed it. And I believed wholeheartedly that if I was meant to be with this girl, that it would naturally happen. And that it was all up to fate. I needed fate on my side. But how does fate work? Is there a way that I could nudge this all-powerful force into helping me out? So thinking back now, I can think of 2 movies that really stood out to me that's kind of related to this. Okay, number 1, let me just get it. Can't hardly wait. One of, if not the greatest teen movie of all time. And the other is Terminator 2, which I don't have with me. I was going to go out and buy it, but you're probably wondering, what does these 2 movies have in common at all? They're totally different. These 2 movies have 2 very different views of fate.
The future is not set. There is no fate for what we make for ourselves.
Maybe it's like you said. You know, all this happened for a reason.
Naturally, I sided with the hopeless romantic. You know when you watch a movie and you feel like it's totally speaking to you? Like every single moment or every single character, you're just like, yes, this talks to me. That was me, from the main character Preston Myers to the love interest Jennifer Love Hewitt. Not that she spoke to me, but I thought she was like the ideal girl ever. To the whole sense of destiny. And then there was this scene.
No fate. There is fate, but it only takes you so far because once you're there, it's up to you to make it happen.
And once I saw that, I knew the deal. My inability to talk to her wasn't any fault of my own. I needed fate to take me there. So our school had sports day every Wednesday, and every term we'd have to choose a new sport to play, and we would take half the day off and play it. That term I chose touch football, and I must have been the luckiest bastard ever because it turns out she also chose touch football, and it was probably the only time that grades 7 and 8 would mix together. When I found that out, this was my chance. Fate was taking me. I'd have 3 to 4 hours every Wednesday to talk to her, but I still couldn't do it. I'd make excuses, like I'd be standing with my friends and she'd be standing with her friends before a game, and I'd think to myself, I can't just break out of my group and walk up to her group and say hi and interrupt them, because it'd just be too weird. But the thing is, there were times when she was by herself, so fate was giving me these perfect moments, like when we'd be walking off the field to get a drink, she'd be walking by herself, or maybe we'd be at the bubblers drinking water and she'd be standing there on her own, and I could have just gone up to her and said, hey, but I'd overanalyze it. I kept thinking, like, what if I go up to her and then she feels totally weirded out by it? She'd be like, why are you talking to me? I don't know you. And what if I don't know what else to say? I could just have these awkward silences and we'd just be standing there like, yep. I had this sense of regret with every missed opportunity. It was crazy. So I'd spent weeks or months liking this girl and experiencing all this frustration just because I couldn't simply say hi to her. The Gone window was closing. So, you know when two people like each other, it's like that magical time when you need to be progressing toward each other, and if you're not, then you're progressing further away from each other. Fate was serving out all these perfect opportunities. So this wasn't a problem with the universe, it was a problem with me. When you're young, it's really easy to make friends. You care less. There's no worries.
You like cherry soda? I like cherry soda. We'll be best friends!
Now, in Australia, we don't have cherry Coke, but we do have Coca-Cola. At the time, Coke was having a promotion where you'd have to look inside the bottle cap to reveal if you'd won. There was a 1 in 5 chance of winning, and so whenever you saw someone holding a bottle of Coke, the first thing you would ask them is, did you win? So it was the end of school, and I was walking down the train station platform with some friends when I saw her sitting there with a bottle of Coke. This was it. So my heart was beating like crazy, and I was almost certain I was going to chicken out like all the times in the past. But something strange happened. So instead of freezing up or being scared, all of that seemed behind me, and I just felt really relaxed and calm. I don't know if it was because it was summer, or if it was because of the end of the day, or maybe I just drank too much Coke myself that day, but something just felt good. It was like Hakuna Matata. Did you win? Oh yeah, I did. That's the best female voice I can do, okay? I have to get a voice actor for that. We both stood there with huge smiles on our faces, and I felt pretty good. I'd finally broken through that barrier that had been plaguing me for months, and I felt like the weight of the world had been lifted off my shoulders. Remember the ledge I was talking about at the beginning of the video? It was scary at first, but eventually I jumped. And as much as I'd like to think that I conquered my fear and was super courageous and I did it, what really motivated me was the pain of the alternative. So imagine not jumping and having everyone in your grade staring at you and laughing at you for being a chicken. And it was the same when I was talking to that girl. It wasn't fate, it wasn't having the perfect plan or having all the variables under control that pushed me over the edge. It was the pain of regret, of missing another opportunity outweighed any potential embarrassment I could have felt if I just went up and talked to her. And so I jumped. And anytime you're scared to do something, don't think about the what, the how, or the why. I mean, you could probably look up tons of videos online that tell you top 5 steps to overcome shyness, but I'm not here to tell you to think about that. I'm here to tell you to think about the alternative, because there's no perfect situation that's going to remove all possibility of failure, or possibility of awkwardness. Sometimes you're going to screw up, sometimes people aren't going to like you, and sometimes it's going to be awkward. And that's okay. Hey guys, so this video is for anyone that's suffering from shyness or social anxiety. I know it seems ridiculous, but when you're a teen or a young person or even an adult and you're struggling with this, sometimes the simplest things like just saying hi can be a huge struggle. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you enjoyed it, please leave a like and comment below. And if you're new here, of course, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye. So that's it, you just asked her one question. Yep.